Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm trying the new mic situation, so this is going to be an adventure. Can you hear me okay? Does it sound shitty? Does it sound awesome?
Yeah, you sound good. I don't have a new mic quite yet, but I am trying the GarageBand recording right this second.
Oh, hell yeah. We've so this is actually a good opportunity to probably, well, I guess we'll get to it probably more in depth, but we joined a network. I know we kind of casually mentioned it last week, but we've officially joined a network. We are now part of the Believe. I think it's meant to be like believe, like inspiring believe, but it's
Just
BLEAVE. They are traditionally mostly focused on sports. I think they do a lot of, like, if you're a big fan of the Milwaukee Bucks, it's the podcast network that will host the best Milwaukee Bucks show and stuff like that. But I think they're starting to hammer their pop culture stuff a little bit harder. And we are one of those pods.
One of the newer pop culture podcasts.
I would go as far to say we are the premier Believe pop culture show.
I'd say they shelled out some pretty hefty bucks to sign.
They wanted 49%. We got them down to 48. So
right. Yeah,
we
whittled them down.
It's pretty. We're good at making deals. Okay.
I think we're the premier podcast on their network who talks about, Mitch McConnell's black hands and things of that nature. Important cultural happenings.
Right. But there's an alarm, because we might have joined a network, but we're still not professionals.
No.
So anyway, but that's some big hot news. So we're trying out. We had a nice meeting with Carter over there. Shout out Carter.
Shout out to the boys.
Seabag, as we call him here.
Seabag.
He loves being called a couple of sea bags. Yeah.
Seabags. But he's been giving us some tips and tricks on how to fix some audio. And my microphone. Shout out Blue Yeti Blue microphones. Your microphones fucking suck. So I even though I think that's what you're still using, right, Freed?
I thought I sounded pretty creamy.
You sound great, and I sound shitty, and I don't understand why. I think there's like a setting wrong on mine or something. So anyway, I'm experimenting with a different one. I use this one. This is a microphone I use when I'm playing Hawaiian lap steel guitar, which I'm actually serious. I do have a Hawaiian lap steel guitar here, and I'll use this microphone to mic it up. But I'm shitty at it, but I do have one. But anyway, so what are we talking about? We were talking about joining a network. We were talking about my microphone being shitty. What else? Anything else that I'm missing here?
Man.
Ooh, Skylar Shaggy Von Oosten says it sounds cool. Does it actually sound good? Give us let me know if it actually sounds good, because if it sounds good, that's great. If it sounds shitty, let me know.
And mine probably doesn't sound as good as theirs.
But you look better than us.
But
your eyebrows are gilded. Ooh.
My eyebrows today.
Hell yeah.
You gelled your eyebrows. You bled your nose. So.
My nose has been ceremonially bled today.
Wait, whose nose got bled?
Mine.
I thought it was Dad's nose.
No. I've been bleeding my nose twice daily.
Ceremonially.
For the past week.
Is this the new skin care fad?
It's like a goop fad.
It's
the dry air, I think, and stress, and a lot of nose picking. So those three things combined is like pretty tough.
And it's a little known fact, or I don't know, I think it's pretty publicly known, but when nose comes out of your head, that's a sign that the demon is leaving your soul. You know what I mean?
Then that's a good thing. That's what we want.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
So it looks like I get according to Skylar, and when it comes to our mic ratings, I'm getting a 3 out of 5, which I think is okay because usually I get like a -2 out of 5.
Okay.
4 out of 5 for boobs. Good on you, and 6 out of 5 for free day.
Wow.
I have no idea how you get your mic to sound the way it does. I think maybe I just as for somebody who does all the audio here, I'm bad at it. So
let me ask you this: do you store your microphone in a bucket of cheese at night in between?
No, I let it sit amongst the various ephemera that sits around my room.
I keep mine in the original box, the original foam, and I repack it as I was purchased, and I put it away pretty much every time.
Pour in.
That's how you're supposed to do it. The way I do it is definitely not how you're supposed to do it. So,
well, mine's just a gosh dang computer.
How about that?
That's 4 out of 5. Damn.
But I will be putting my other one in. I just forgot to bring it home with me for this trip.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll figure it out. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. It's a little bit of what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Human Watch is what we're going to do today. So before we get to that, though, do subscribe, and do all that stuff. Tell your friends. Now that we're on a network, we hopefully are going to be growing a little bit. We're going to be doing maybe some ads. We're going to try to. We're going to like a jilted ex-lover. We're going to hit up True Swords again and say, hey, listen, last chance to join this thing, what we have going on. So see if they want to give us some mad cash to sell their swords. And if not them, maybe it'll be Casper Mattress, because they seem to do that for a lot of ads.
And I want Believe to know that I know how to sing jingles. So if there's an ad that there's a jingle necessary for it,
right?
Such as pharmaceuticals, big pharma.
I would love to do some stuff for big pharma. They're my favorite category.
Do you have eczema on your face? It's a new hit. Yeah.
So good. Or O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly. Auto Parts.
Ow! So good. You could do Skyrizi for chronic to severe plaque psoriasis.
Oh, I love it.
Fever, and I feel free. Yeah, that's my skin. Yeah, that's all me. Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin. That's my new plan.
I love it.
See, now we're gonna get a takedown notice from Twitch because you're singing songs that are owned by other corporations.
Big Pharma shows up at your door and they assassinate. They don't. That's how they.
We got it. Just because you sung that you sang that little jingle. Now our podcast is gonna get taken down from the iTunes store. Because it's going to get claimed. So thanks a lot, Dog. 160 episodes in, and we have finally been ruined. Anyway, so we're going to talk about Human Watch. Human Watch is a smaller subreddit, but it's an interesting proposition, which basically supposes that aliens are watching humans, and they are in this subreddit. They are documenting and asking questions to other aliens to try to essentially I don't understand this one thing. Can anybody explain this one thing so I can report it to my boss? That's kind of the point of of Human Watch. So we stumbled upon it. I think we were hitting some randoms and found. Is that how this happened?
Yeah, randoms, and then there's a trending subreddits that are promoted every week on this one. I think it's the trending subreddit.
Ooh,
but it was highlighted a few weeks back, and just a lot of stuff going on Earth right now that I think probably the alien overlords are going to want to hear about.
There are a few things happening on Earth right now, I would say. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the front page of this past week. What you guys got? What was happening on your personal front page?
Everybody's so pumped that Joe Biden's pup is going to be the first rescue dog in the White House.
Oh, really? Is it a
Yeah.
rescue dog thing? I didn't realize that was the narrative. I thought it was just like the first dog.
It's going to be bringing dogs back because Obama had a dog, George W. had a dog, Clinton had a dog. Trump didn't have a dog.
Well, he's a fucking
Because
sociopath. So
a psychopath.
I mean, why would I mean? Quite frankly, I feel like that is like fairly telling of him because I remember there was one article that came out when his presidency first started that was essentially like the way Trump eats a steak says a lot about him. Do you remember that?
Yes, because it was like a with 2 knives, and it's like something.
It was 2 knives, and it was like he only eats steak well done with ketchup or something insane like that. Am I making that up? I thought that's what it was,
not.
right?
You're right. That came out at the beginning of his presidency that he liked well done steak with ketchup.
Absolutely insane. And I feel like that is similar to the dog thing.
That's how a child eats steak, right?
That is how a child eats. That is not okay.
Kid doesn't want a rare steak. So is Biden going to be one of those guys who says, I didn't rescue this dog. This dog rescued me. Because if he does, I'm out.
He's definitely going to be
for
that
Jill
guy.
Stein.
Yeah. You know what it's going to be?
I've gone from Jill Stein since the beginning.
It's that he's going to have a bumper sticker that said, "Who rescued whomst?"
I like the grammatical correctness there too.
Put that on the back of the like
rescued whomst.
The multi-bulletproof layered car that he has to go everywhere. You see this one bumper sticker.
You know what would be fucking
and everybody assumes it's talking about the Secret Service.
Yeah.
Like he has some affectation for the Secret Service.
You've never seen a presidential ride with a bumper sticker. That feels like a Trump move. I mean, I gotta say, Trump's done a lot of cool trolls, and that feels like a low hanging fruit he could throw on there. Like my other car is an AR-15 or something like that, or something. Like truck nuts on the presidential wagon.
The Trump, I mean the Trump nuts. Truck nuts. Trump nuts.
Call them Trump nuts. Ooh, wow.
Little Trump nut.
So that's interesting. I mean, one other thing that's interesting that I think, and again, it's been a very political time, so I mean, it's kind of hard to avoid talking politics. We're not going to talk about it the whole time. But another thing that I thought was kind of interesting, because everybody's been making a big deal about Mike Pompeo saying that Trump's transition to power for the next Trump administration is going to be graceful. And everybody's like, will you fucking believe what he said? And I'm just kind of like, I think he's trolling, actually. I'm pretty sure he's trolling.
Oh my God.
Because it just feels like the way it's worded, and like he's got a little bit of a wink where he's just like, this is going to piss everybody off.
This is going to get him.
Dad, you're a former bully, from the
current bully.
Former.
I'm a current bully.
It's debatable. You guys still got that edge. But do you feel like the Republican crew is so good at like bullying the Democrats with things like this, where then like people get up in arms? You're like, stop. First of all, stop getting up in arms. Like they're fucking with you. They're like, they're poking you because and then you get up in arms and you get all emotional, and then they just keep doing it. Like, stop. Like, learn how to deal with this stuff. Hire some bullies.
Brother, that little brother.
Yeah. It's kind of like it makes me frustrated. I'm like, you want a Mitch McConnell on your squad.
The irony is that Mitch McConnell is like the easiest to bully because he's such an absolute major dweeb. But the thing that, the Democratic Party just like, they need somebody that will fuck with people. You know what I mean? They don't really have that. Like all they have is civility,
or like that's their brand, right? I don't know if it's actually civil, but that's what they're trying to come across as, which leaves them wide open for like alpha aggression, and
exactly.
And I think a lot of people respond to the alpha on like the conservative side, and then it sort of does make the Democrats look weak when they're like, just everyone gets their own fish stick sandwich, and
everyone gets their own fish stick sandwich. That's what I'm always saying.
That's always been their platform.
I
But
know.
it's
That's
interesting. It's like you need somebody to sort of like toughen up and talk a little shit.
right. I agree.
Adam
So
Schiff looks like he's crying.
So here's another one. This is an interesting one actually that I think is pretty powerful. This is on the front page. This was posted 4 hours ago, and I don't know what happened here, but evidently, U.S. veterans and Gold Star families can now enjoy a lifetime of free national park access.
Seemed like it should have been in the original contract. Right? Yeah,
that should have been in the original contract. You get to go to college for free. You get to have PTSD for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You may or may not get a job after you finish the military, but hey, you get to go to the Yellowstone whenever you want. For free.
At least you can go to Yellowstone.
You know what would be dope?
Which is cool.
Is that you should be employed. You should get those city worker jobs that all these freaking dweebs have in LA that don't seem to be doing much, but they should just employ, like, you should get priority for some kind of a city job as a veteran where, you know, it's just like a steady job you could roll for like the next 25 years. Yeah. It's secure. You know, we're like redoing power lines, redoing like sewers,
right.
Like good paying jobs. They should give them those. On another veteran note, the VA here in Los Angeles just started allowing veterans. There's a huge homeless camp outside of the VA.
Huge homeless camp.
In West, it's like in Brentwood, which is like the wealthiest suburb in the world.
Right.
And there's this massive homeless encampment out front. I mean, it's like insane. You got to Google image it. It's
I've heard that.
It's unbelievable. Wow. But they just started letting veterans, because a lot of the people out there are veterans, which is ironic. Right. And the VA space is like hundreds of thousands of acres of like pristine space. They've just started letting veterans camp on the property. You know, still be homeless, but like live in their tents, but on their property instead of under the freeway.
Well, that's awfully
and
nice.
I'm like, well, yeah, you should have done that shit fucking 10 years ago. Help those people out. God damn it.
Yeah. Los Angeles VA. So yeah, you're right. That's posted yesterday. So it looks like I think I know the spot you're talking about.
It's just at the
see what happens when I go to images. Hopefully it's not. Yes,
Santa Monica
I know exactly. And I actually I had this realization the other day because I went to get pizza in Brentwood a couple of weeks ago, and haven't, this is a funny thing about COVID is like all these things that you used to do, you don't really do anymore. So like the world changes without you seeing it, like I haven't been to Brentwood in ages. Right. And so I went there to get some pizza. And then I was like, "Oh my God, there's so many homeless people here!" Like
John and Vinny's.
Fuck? No, it was what's the really popular Pizzana? What's that place? It wasn't very good actually. I wasn't like a huge fan, but it's like some fancy ass. I mean, I would rather go to a place called John and Vinny's than Pizzana. I think Pizzana was like, "Oh, Pizzana, we're gonna Pizzana."
Sounds like you have to
John and Vinny's. I'm gonna go to John and Vinny's. I'm gonna get a meatball sandwich. Oh, you guys have pizza too? All right, I'll have that.
Pizzana, you need to do a downward dog to eat your slices.
Pizzana.
Exactly.
Like what? That's bull.
But anyway, yeah. So I noticed that, and I didn't know what it was, and so now this actually makes a lot more sense. Because Brentwood's right by UCLA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I know exactly. I know the exact area you're talking about, and yeah, it's like. It blew my mind. I was like, I had absolutely no idea it was that crazy. But yeah, I mean the veterans, the tragedy of the way we treat veterans is obviously like well documented and profound. But what
do you think about a boycott? Like if the veterans get together and they start promoting, they start campaigning against young people joining the military, because they won't be taken care of afterwards. Like if that becomes a narrative,
I mean, I think that's great. But I think that's unfortunately part of the issue with the military is like the militaries, they like break you down. And I was in the military. I can't speak from experience, obviously, but like,
a lot of movies. Yeah.
Well, from what I can tell from Saving Private Ryan in 1917 is no, but I think that the whole idea with the way the military functions is obviously you have to function as a unit. You do not have free will and individuality. That's kind of the one of the big tenets of the system, for good reason, right? Because that's you have to kind of have a united front. And so I think that a lot of people get out. It's like if you I don't think it necessarily creates the kind of people who are going to be like, we need to take a stand against this tyranny of the system. I think it's a little bit more like, you know, people that are just like, I don't know what to do. No one's telling me where to go. What do I do? You know?
Exactly.
And
it's like,
it's not a bad thing against veterans. I'm not like slamming veterans. I'm just saying that this is like, it's the way the system is created. And so I actually, one of my most, I have this strange memory that I like. I don't interact with a lot of people in the military, but I have this very bizarre memory of when I was going from when I was driving across the country from my hometown to California. I stopped in Vegas, and on like an impulse, I was like, I'm gonna go to this fucking gun range. Let's see what's up. I'm just going to this gun range, see what's happening. Cool. Right. So I went over to this gun range, shot a couple fucking Glocks or whatever, and was talking to the guy who was like the guy who watches to make sure I'm not going to be like put it in my mouth and be like, like Jesus, it ain't working, dude. Like, you know, they have like a couple people around that do that, and
the Suicide Watch crew,
the Suicide Watch crew, the Suicide or Murder Watch crew. But
those are the same people who kill pigeons at airports so they don't hit plane propellers,
bro. So I was talking to him, and he was like, I was like, how'd you start doing this? He was like, I was in the military and I got out, and, you know, he was like hyper aggro, like an extremely fucking aggressive dude. And he said something along the lines of like, yeah, I like this job because everybody's as fucked up as I am from the military.
Whoa.
Or something like that. It was a really weird sentiment. I was like, cool. All right. See you around. But I remember thinking about it a lot because it was one of those things where I was like, damn, like, when you go to the military, if you are an infantry person, or if you kind of go lacking direction and you're kind of like, you know, and you really feel like the military is your place, but then you can't stay in the military, or you choose to not for whatever reason, those skills don't necessarily transfer to anything. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, you don't.
I actually met some guys a few years ago that I worked with that had the perfect setup after the military. They became private security. They work for like a private security firm, like
Blackwater.
Yeah, kind of like
get hired by like Tanzania to go and like stage coups and shit.
Probably, but
my dream job. Yeah, I watched a lot of those shows too.
Yeah,
and those guys always get the chicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it seems very sexy.
They were. I'm just saying.
I mean, as our resident chick, what do you think about military dudes who stage coups in foreign African land?
I mean, I hate that shit. I don't like that. That's not fun. But these
sexy.
guys are protecting me, so I love that.
Beautiful.
So everything else is forgiven. So
how long did you guys date?
These guys were awesome. They worked for a security firm out of Chicago that would be hired out.
Oh yes,
dignitaries. So
that's
like,
right. I remember this job.
This guy.
This was Mexico,
put the moves
right?
On you.
Yes, this was Mexico.
Yes.
Guys. So like,
didn't you like shit your pants or something?
Yes.
Yes, that's
you
right.
And the guy sent you like a dick pic, right?
Yes, I'm so.
Oh wait, we got to rehash this for all the new listeners.
All right.
Bring the story back.
Yeah, I know
saga of dog boobs.
My experience with these veterans on Veterans Day.
Oh, I love this. This is our Veterans Day story. Actually, this is how we like to remember the troops.
This is a good one because honestly, love these guys. They literally saved my life when I had Montezuma's Revenge and was like shitting myself in the airport. Cool. Okay. And I'm you need to just keep listening. So they're amazing. There were probably like 6 of them. They're all super buff. They were ex-Marines. So they
love it.
Are no longer in Iraq. I didn't know what to say when we got in the van because they had to escort us from the airport in Morelia, Mexico, which is.
Did you salute them?
Were you there for a political? Were you part of a political convoy, or what was your?
I was there to shoot a documentary about avocados.
Avocados.
Cool. So they were driving us to our hotel in Michoacan, which is the heartland of cartel violence. So that's why we had them with us, and because we had all this equipment, so like we could get hijacked on the road and stuff. So they came. I didn't know what to say, so I said, "Thanks for your service." They later told me they hate hearing that shit. When we got really drunk together, they were like, "Oh, we hate when people say that."
Good. I haven't been saying it ever. I've always been the dick who never says it.
I'm always like, "Oh, you were in the military?
Yeah.
So
what?
So what?
Yeah. So what?
Prove it.
Yeah. Let me see some push-ups. Yeah.
Why don't you show whatever me something that I couldn't do?
Anyway. That's so interesting.
The thing, I know that they don't like hearing "thank you for your service." What they actually like saying is, or what they actually like hearing is, you meet somebody in the military and you go, "Oh, so you were the one that dropped all those bombs on Iraq?
Baby killer,
scumbag, baby killer." That's what they love. You hear that in the military, you go, so you just kill civilians for fun? Is that what you do? Get out of here.
They love hearing baby killer and then with the pussy.
Get out of here. That's what I like to say. I like, go, get out of here.
Get out of
here.
But anyway, so you got drunk with Marines in Mexico. Continue your story.
Mexico. They were the utmost, most respectful human beings in the world. There was no funny business going on at all. Okay, let me tell you this one. So one of them, you guys know this story, started to have a seizure in front of us when we were back at the hotel.
It's not very professional.
Don't know this part of the story.
This isn't. So we're all just standing there in a hotel room, and
you're fired.
Starts having a seizure.
Wow.
One of the other Marines, who was an Army medic, also was there. Immediately gets this guy on the ground, chest compressions, CPR. He saves this guy's life. Cracks like 3 of his ribs in the process, but this guy turned gray, and we watched him save this man's life. The police or the ambulance in this tiny Mexican town was not coming, so the guy was like, "All right, get him in the van. We're gonna take him to the hospital." That gets the guy up. Guy rips the biggest life-affirming fart of basically like, "I am back, world."
Oh, you mean so? Was it jet propulsion? Like that's what kind of got him up? Is like he farted and it like got him vertical?
That's why.
Very cool.
It was a kippy up, but with a fart.
Oh, love it.
He kipped up with that, but I just remember being like, "He's gonna be okay. He's gonna be."
Did you clap after his life was saved, or did you clap after the fart, or did you have to do it twice?
I actually was like so shocked when like he came to that I still didn't know what was going on. I was like running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I didn't even know what was going on.
Dang.
Yeah.
Every time I hear a story like this, I like in my mind, I imagine what is happening at the time, because I feel like you don't have enough time to like react and do what you're supposed to do. So like if you're eating a sandwich, this is one of those things where you just kind of like slowly stop eating your sandwich, but you kind of hold it where it was. You're just like, and then like he gets back up and you're just like,
the guy probably wanted a bite of my sandwich.
Right.
His blood sugar was low. Like, those are those situations where you're like, it turns out I'm not a hero.
Yeah. I am not meant to be a hero.
After watching literally thousands of hours of hero movies, and putting myself in that situation every time, it turns out I do not jump when I do not save the kid from the alligator mouth.
I was mugged. I was with a group of friends in Barcelona. I was mugged. Down on
the beach,
you're like a real live cartoon strip. Like the amount of things that happen in your world are big, exciting, and it always involves like a whoops and a fall. Like every
So I was in Barcelona and I was walking along a boardwalk with like 2 guys and 2 girls. Open bottle of wine, being some 20-something dumbass tourists. I started getting a bad feeling. I got a bad feeling that there were these guys. They were walking too close behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, I am told not to be paranoid by one of the men in the group.
Men are always doing that.
You're being
always doing that,
dude. Stop being all paranoid, dude.
So paranoid. Nothing's gonna happen. The guys
just enjoy this Chianti.
And I bolted.
Oh shit! So your friends are dead.
They survived, but me and this one other girl just ran.
Wait, what happened? They got mugged?
They got mugged, and I was running.
Dang.
not just I was trying to it wasn't a decision, I'll tell you that. When it comes to that moment where you think it's life or death, your body just does what it does, and you find out quickly if you're a coward. And I did.
I think it takes some serious training to
You have to
stay
also
calm and want to stay.
Mhm.
And I think most people just don't train in that capacity, and
That's a
it's
good
totally
point.
normal. And what are you gonna do? Sit there and like fight a couple of
Right.
dudes
Like,
with
I
your
mean,
karate skills or something? I mean,
and I'm certainly not going to help the situation, but also it makes you feel like a shit because like
you're
you're
not
like,
the hero you
"Please."
you're not the hero you claim to be on some of your
No.
online profiles.
And
I've also noticed in my experience that I like anytime I've been in those situations, and not even like, because haunted houses are kind of meant to simulate that. It's obviously not the same thing. You kind of know what's coming, but like
Every
some
haunted house
people
I
like.
go in, I punch the ghouls and I try to.
Do you do
stay
that?
and
Because
fight
I
them.
actually kind of do that. Not on purpose. I don't like go in wanting to punch ghouls, but I do find that like when I get scared in haunted houses, I start talking different. Like I start saying shit that I would never say. Where like a ghoul will come up to me and I go, "What's up, bitch? Let's fucking go!" And I'll start saying shit like that, kind of on impulse, not really realizing what's happening. But I think I have maybe a little bit more fight than flight in me.
You're in
That's
full
In certain circumstances.
Wow.
fight.
Yeah, I become like the bully I was always meant to be, where I'm just like, "What's up, bitch? You want to go? What's up?" And then that's I actually got. I mean, this is not funny, but it's kind of funny because when I was 17, I went to a haunted house and I got out and there were cops waiting for me because I had evidently, and I did not do this. It actually ended up being an elaborate ruse, but
Mhm.
I had inappropriately touched a like older woman ghoul unknowingly, and they had like there were cops waiting for me because like the husband was like this redneck backwoods West Virginian who was like
Oh
wanted to
God,
fight me, and they were like, "You're
You have
fucking
to
lucky
fight.
that you're in this cop car," and I was just like, "Why am I lucky I'm in this cop car? I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?"
No
You're gonna take you down
groping the ghouls.
Right.
No
And me
groping
and my
the ghouls.
best friend, one of the 69 boys, Nate, had gone to a Walmart to grab a Halloween costume
Whoa.
before this had happened, but all they had left were kids stuff. So we were both wearing these like really ill-fitting Batman and Robin outfits. So I was sitting in the back of this cop car in like this like really like not like overexposed Batman outfit for little kids, like having just evidently sexually harassed a old ghoul, an old
Thank
witch.
God you were under police protection.
It was tough. It was a tough scenario. But anyway, so support the
Man.
troops. I think is where this all nets out. I think is where we.
I mean,
Right.
there should be a rule. You should be allowed to smack any teenage boy for
Right.
pretty much little reason, right? Like,
Yeah.
especially from 14 to 17. Like, if you're in that range, chances are you're being a
Right.
shithead with your
Right.
pals, and that woman should just be able to smack you.
Yeah, her husband should have just been able to sock me in the jaw.
Maybe just a backhand. Maybe that's what the backhand is really designed for.
Yeah.
But I was too nice of a kid. I wouldn't have like fought this guy. I wasn't like a juvenile delinquent. I was just like a little obnoxious prankster. So I like I would have gotten the shit beat out of me by this guy. But I also think this is a hot take, by the way. Halloween is not around the corner. We just passed it.
Yeah.
But next year, assuming COVID is not around anymore, I think it's time we start introducing full contact haunted houses.
Like the
because
Purge.
right,
like
kind of like the Purge.
Like practice for the
They
Purge.
have these.
But I don't think. Well, they have the ones that are like you get tortured the whole time, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like
Or you can fight back.
Well, because haunted houses aren't scary because you know what's going to happen. Someone jumps out and they go, ah, and they get in your face and then they're not allowed to touch you. So they just go, ah, and you just go,
Yeah.
I have like a force field right now. Like that chainsaw can't touch me. So like, what am I supposed to be afraid of this? So I'm kind of like, you know what? Let's go, bitch. I'm saying let's make a system where it's not like no holds bar, but it's like the rules are stated at the front, even if it's like the old Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing where it's like this is a true story, but it's not actually a true story. But at the very front, they go, just so you know, this is full contact. If a ghoul wants to take you, they're gonna take you, and there's nothing you can do to keep them from doing it, right? And if it said that at the front, you'd be like, I don't want to go in there. That sounds awful, right?
You know what would be cool too? Yeah, like a little pepper spray, maybe some tasers, like like hot coals. Like really,
I mean,
nothing's gonna kill you, but you'll come out of there feeling, I think, more comfortable in a situation in Barcelona where you're about to be mugged. You're like, look, I've been here before, dude. I've been to the Ghoul Challenge,
Yeah, I've been. Have you been to Hermosa Beach? I've been to the Ghoul Challenge. I can take on anyone.
Yeah, I'm cool as a cucumber.
I'm going to introduce one more variable to this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Doug. What were you saying?
How would it be different than those haunted houses, private haunted houses run by people that make you sign like
a waiver?
Yeah, a waiver where people can grab you and like puke on you.
Well, I will tell you the distinct difference actually, because I'm thinking about this as we talk. So I think that there's the one that's like the private haunted houses where you go in and because they're a private haunted house, the whole reason you go is because you're going to get tortured and waterboarded the whole time, and you're just like, I can do it, and then you can't, and you're out. But I don't like those are like kind of uninteresting because you just know the whole point is you getting tortured. It's like a saw simulation.
Masochism.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pose the perfect haunted house scenario,
I know what you're about to say, and I already support it.
Okay.
That's how well I know your personality on this podcast.
You walk in with two Marines on each side of you, right?
Whoa. Curveball.
Didn't
right. Okay. No. Yeah. No. That is actually the perfect job for vets. Is they protect you against very scary haunted houses.
Year-round full contact
a high profile client. You'll be walking her through a haunted house. I have thousands of hours of jump training, and I'm a sniper.
So here's the system I'm proposing. They make a whole. It's a big corporatized big haunted house. It's not like a little private house thing. And at the front, they make a whole thing about like this isn't a torture house, but this is full contact. And there are a couple places. If you get taken, you're taken to one of two places. So you know where you'll be, and your friends.
Fallujah?
If you get you're either taken to Fallujah or Kosovo, the two places you're taken. No, you get taken to one of two places, and then if you get out and you're done with the haunted house, you know that your friend is still in there at one of those places, so you have to go in and get them.
Like a true horror movie.
Like a true horror movie. Like you can't.
That's cool.
And then also one more twist here.
Yeah.
Or not get your friend.
Or not get your friends. You just get to leave. But one more twist. When you go in, you are there's a small box of like varying levels of weapons. And I'm not talking like guns and knives and shit like that. I'm talking like there's a fucking squirt gun with lemon juice. There's things that are like a little annoying and like would throw off. Like if you were like walking through a forest and you're just like, fuck, I don't have it. All I have is this twigs and like this branch and, things that like would actually kind of simulate what it would be like in a horror thing. And so you have to pick, but you're going in with a group of people. So everybody quickly grabs their thing. So there's always a chance you're going to be left over with like the fucking, like a styrofoam cup. You're going to be like, it's fucking worthless. But then the other guy might have like a 2x4, And so there's a little bit of like a survival mode thing. And if you have to run through it, there's always a chance you're going to run into a maze and you're going to run into a place where you will want to be. Like, I feel like that would people would lose their shit. Like, people would lose their shit, but also it wouldn't be that dangerous. You know what I mean? It would be like one of those things where like, if you get, no one's going to be like, I'm taken. Where am I taken? Like I'm in a cage. I'm not. The problem with haunted houses is your life is never at risk. You know what I mean? Like that's the big issue is you never. I mean, this sounds insane to talk about, but like,
and I'm going to throw another layer onto this because I think it would be good. And this is where I thought you were going. But if some of the ghouls were actually just very, very cynical, unsuccessful comedians, and they just hurled insults at you when you walked by, and they sort of trolled you.
And tried
love
to
it.
go for your most deepest insecurities.
Yeah, they tried to kill you
Right.
from the inside out, and I think if
Mhm.
that would also just lower your self-esteem, which
I like it. So I think where your head is going, which I also agree is a perfect concept for a haunted house, is you make this big thing. It's called the zombie house of ghouls of the marina, right? And you're like, oh, that sounds crazy, man. You walk in and it's literally an overlit, really bad improv night with older people who aren't funny and are at the twilight of their career, and you just have to sit there for an hour and listen to it.
I think I got the name for the place.
And that's
it's called Uncool Ghouls. It's the greatest name ever. There's no better. So we're moving on.
I love it. Okay. Well, this conversation took a strange turn. So I think somehow we went from Veterans Day to inventing a better haunted house.
Well, jobs.
I don't know how we got there.
Jobs for vets.
We did.
Yeah.
Jobs for vets. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. We support the troops. I'm going to make this very clear. We support the troops. We just think it's a tragedy that there's a homeless encampment in Brentwood. That's what we're saying.
I do think it's fucking crazy that these guys aren't taken care of better. It's very sad.
I think it's insane.
A real stain on the underpants, the white tidy whities of Uncle Sam
of the American system.
Yeah, Sam's tidy whities are not red, white, and blue. They're brown.
They're brown. They're
yellow,
brown,
white.
dark brown, and red.
Because they've got hemorrhoids.
Terrible. Because they got hemorrhoids. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. I mean, we're kind of here to talk about that. Well, this is actually, you know what? Maybe this is actually a pretty good segue into talking about Human Watch, because Human Watch is all about aliens looking at humans. It's like a fanfic, or not fanfic. It's like a LARPing of aliens watching humans and trying to make sense of what humans are doing. Right? Am I summing that up correctly?
Yeah. The pitch is something like this. It's like, so wait, you tell all these young kids that if you join the military, not only will your life be better.
Are we still talking about the military? Or are we talking about Human Watch now?
Watch, I'm bridging it into that. But and then we're going to take care of you for the rest of your days. But then when they get out, you just ignore them? I don't understand. You said one thing, but you're doing another thing. And I think for an alien, they go, yeah, well, that's just human talk. That's called marketing. And they go, what's marketing?
I see.
And then it's this whole, it's an idea, right? Why would you say one thing and then not fulfill that promise? Well, because we're constantly just lying. Part of being a human,
I love it. I'm into it. I think I'm going to just make sure this is very clear. We're going to put up this Veterans Day. Let's see. What's a good Veterans Day image that can sit in the background? This is perfect. This is it. This is the one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's good photo. Right there.
That says.
What about thank you veterans above you?
That's cool too.
I like that. Thank you.
Seems off brand for us though. What's a good one that I feel like? Well, this is
that eagle
the one.
Very dope. Yeah, that's the one.
All right, that's the one.
Blown out and low res and better.
I love it. I'm into it. Anyway, or this one. This is an insane image.
That one. Just
a man parachuting with the American flag just sitting below him.
I feel like that's man.
And are we the podcast that pitched that the raven should be the bird, the American bird? Did we say that?
Are you confusing the podcast that you run with another podcast?
Yeah, I'm on a couple podcasts.
We might have been that podcast. I don't know. Maybe we were.
I can't remember.
I think it's a great idea. Anyway, we don't need to talk about vets anymore. We're doing our part.
We're doing our part.
We're doing our part. Also, by the way, again, let me reiterate. We're not making fun of the veterans. We're making fun of the problem that the veterans face, which is actually deeply tragic. There's a crazy suicide rate. Fucking sucks. America, get your shit together and take care of our vets. All right, moving on. Human Watch. So, Dog, do you want to read the sidebar on Human Watch?
Yes, the sidebar, and then there's a really great "What is Human Watch" post that I'll kind of read next. So Human Watch is a community for alien supervisors on planet Earth who are trying to analyze and document the behavior of the strange species known as Homo sapiens. And there are 3.2 thousand people that are into this. And it was first made in 2017. So the post Were you gonna say something?
No, I didn't. There's also these two sidebars that I don't really know what these are about. I feel like I'm gonna change the way I'm sharing my screen because I don't know. There's a couple side quests on this thing that I don't really understand. I'm gonna pull them up after you kind of go through the understand a little bit more. But one of them is aeon.co, which is like seems like maybe just a philosophical news site, maybe.
Huh.
And then another one. But anyway, go back to what you were saying because I need to figure out why this is something that was brought up on this.
Yeah, sure. I private chatted you the Human Watch just to make sure you got the correct Human Watch because that header doesn't look right.
Oh, I have the same one. I wonder why you and I have different headers. Very strange.
Okay, it's the same one.
Old Reddit versus new Reddit in dark mode.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right. Anywho, so what is Human Watch? Welcome, alien, to the most important community on Reddit. Human Watch. You and I are aliens trying to analyze and document behavioral patterns of the strange species known as Homo sapiens. Our goal is to understand the Homo sapien, one of the most intriguing scientific experiments in the galaxy's history. Never had the opportunity to document intelligent life on this scale before, but we need your brain power. Understanding humans will help us understand the creation of intelligent life, something even the most advanced simulations can't do.
I hope you realize what you're getting out of this, Big Pharma. The kind of ads that you could generate through dog boobs, luscious. Just all you have to say is you go, what this is there are two questions that we ask on our ad form. What medicine do you want us to talk about?
And which species?
What accent do you want us to use in talking about it?
Endless combinations. We can make ads for years. Okay?
Ads for years. All right. Anyway.
All right. 7.53 billion humans, 7.53 billion brains, 7.53 billion critical thinkers, and 7.53 billion guinea pigs. Yes, we, an advanced alien race, simulated the creation of intelligent life on Earth. We did this by ending the dinosaur population on planet Earth, after which intelligent life had an opportunity to flourish. The Homo sapiens turned out to be best suited to populate Earth. So they did. Now, all we have to do is observe them. Our alien race has placed human-looking supervisors. You are one of them. On Earth. By advanced technologies, we have been able to make you look like a human so you can help us document and analyze the human species. Post anything here that you've seen happen on Earth and that you want to discuss with other supervisors. It has to be discussed from the supervisor alien point of view, though, or you will be banned.
So you have
love LARPing.
Yeah, we're LARPing. Yeah, exactly.
I love this. So
it's very funny. I mean, it's very funny. It's like there's a couple of things that are really charming about it. Like one obviously is like the fun of the LARP, right? Where you kind of go, we're acting this way, we're aliens, haha. But then I do think that it's also really profound because the idea of analyzing, I mean, you can do the LARPing thing where it's just like, what, like aliens, what are these dogs that you like, right? Which I think there are a couple posts like that, but then there are also some that are like, or humans, why do you move? I think one of the top ones right now is like, why do you move to places that are inhospitable, right?
Yeah.
Which is an interesting question, right? Like, why would somebody move to the desert, or why would somebody move to like the coastline that's going to be decimated by global warming or whatever? And so it kind of poses some interesting philosophical questions, which is kind of what I was trying to get at, which I couldn't quite wrap my head around. But there are a couple pages that are so more reading material and then recommended subreddits. Expectations versus reality. I don't know why that's one of them. I also don't know why 2 health bars is one, but more reading material with aeon.co and then Nautilus. And so aeon.co is a, from what I can tell, and I don't entirely know, it it looks like it's it's like a philosophy. It almost looks like a like atheist publication. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that atheist vibe where it's like what are you into? And I'm like, oh, I'm into philosophy and like pop culture analysis and fucking believing that God doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
I feel like you'll be getting a brand pretty close to your penis.
Yeah. So philosophy, science, psychology, society, and culture. That feels like an atheist thing, right? Well, what is he about today, actually?
I noticed they left out God and Jesus. And...
Yeah. Like most publications who mention God and Jesus in their hamburger menu. So since 2012, Aeon has established itself as a unique digital magazine, publishing some of the most profound and provocative thinking on the web. We ask the big questions, find the freshest, most original answers provided by leading thinkers on science, philosophy, society, and the arts. I don't know anything about this publication. Maybe it's really popular. It is very popular, evidently. There's 279,000 likes on Facebook, just shy of what we have. And so, but anyway, evidently that's a big one. And then the other one is Nautilus. And Nautilus is, seems that is more of a magazine.
Cool.
I thought it was a great way to work out.
Looks like
it is also a good way to work out. The Amazing Brain, Something Green, The Dark Side, Love and Sex, Risk, Energy, Reopening, Outbreak, Intelligence. So again, it's kind of like anthropological thinking about humanity, which I think is why the sub is interesting, is because this is a role-playing sub, but at its core, it's also it is posing interesting questions, but in jest, because it is a role-playing sub. So I think it seems like the moderator's intention really is less of a like goofy alien thing, and it's a little bit more like, you know, the kind of question that were you guys in like gifted classes growing up?
If you mean like I was in like the really super funny guy gifted class, right, and Doug was in the gifted voice class, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, at ASU, were you in the gifted program?
I was in the gifted archery program that started at 11:25 a.m.
Amazing. So I was in one of those classes in, I think from fourth grade to
dog boobs class. Sorry, dog boobs. What were you saying? Boom, zing.
I don't even get that joke. I didn't even hear that. So, so from fourth grade to like eighth grade, I think I was in like all of the kids. So, you know, I'm from a small town, small school. So they would like hand pick the kids that were like, you know, smart or gifted or whatever. And they would all get us in a specific class that we would take like either once a day or like every, you know, like I don't remember what the cadence was, but you know, it's like the all-star team of academics, I guess. And these were the kinds of questions you would get. Like we would sit around and it would be like, I remember one of them was like, you know, this is kind of common now, but I think in fourth grade, it was like foreign to me, but it was like, tell the teacher how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And you'd be like, what do you mean? You grab 2 pieces of bread, and then she would like fuck it up on purpose to prove to you that you have to be like extremely critically thinking about how to instruct somebody to build a sandwich, right?
Dude, and a recurrence of the overly literal genie metaphor.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
The overly literal genie. Like if you're not
yes, of course.
literal, you'll get like not the right wish.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like this is a little bit of the kind of thing that we would also do, where it'd be like, okay, role play. You are an alien. You've come down to Earth. You need to understand why people believe in God. Like you need to understand democracy by asking specific questions to humans to understand it. What are the questions you ask? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the vibe here, which kind of feels like it's part of that kind of cadence. So
sounds like getting you know, getting perspective on a situation from an outsider's point of view will help you understand, you know, what it is, what the mechanism is, but also it takes things off pedestals in an interesting way.
Totally.
And we which I mean is the point. Right? Yeah,
it's like you take everything for its face value instead of taking everything as like the kind of, you know, especially as adults, everything that we know is a byproduct of of cultural narrativization over time, right? We go like Democrats versus Republicans, and you immediately know what that is. though on its surface it doesn't really mean anything. Veterans, right? Like we just had this long chat about vets, right? A haunted house. Like if you were to talk to a complete stranger about what a haunted house is, or somebody that is not a human and has no like a built-in bias or built-in kind of definition of that kind of stuff, like it's kind of going to be hard to explain, right? Like you have to explain what haunted means. Then you have to explain what a ghost is. Then you have to explain how death works. You know what I mean? They have to explain like how and why when somebody dies, you don't know what happens to them. So we create narrative around what happens to the souls, which is why we created ghosts. And then sometimes ghosts are scary. So if they're inhabiting a house, you know what I mean? Like you kind of go through this extremely arduous endeavor of explaining how this shit works, which is, I think, what the spirit of this sub is. Now, I will say this subreddit doesn't necessarily fully deliver on that. Like it does a little bit, but it's like a smaller sub. So
it's smaller. It's a little bit. I think it's less informative than you might want it to be. It's a lot of attempts at humor maybe they're okay. But I don't know how insightful some of the comments are.
I mean, I wish it was more. Like I think that there are things, right? So this is another version of this, right? So like part of it is so
I just sent you guys this picture.
So this picture that you just sent,
I just texted it to you.
That's so funny.
It made me laugh.
It is very insane. So this is what we've talked about, like the philosophical perspective on this is very interesting. But then there's other things like this, which is literally just a photo of a guy with like a YouTube video. It says, "I vaped Belle Delphine's bathwater." So like famously, so this is this is like a famous internet thing. If for some reason you're unfamiliar with Belle Delphine, she's like the queen of the e-girls. E-girls are like internet girls who are almost, in my mind, they're almost like anime come to life on the internet. Is kind of like the interpretation in my mind.
Right.
And then she's like, she became very famous because she's like kind of lewd photos that she's never naked, but like, it's kind of, she's like the simp lord too. Like she's the one who's like the simping kind of like, you give money to this person without getting anything in response. You kind of like buy them gifts on Amazon, whatever.
Right.
But
I've been trying to get a simp room going for my own. I'm trying to get a couple people to give me some purses and some stuff, but it's not.
Yeah, Datterbait. Remember we talked about this. This is the Datterbait. Yeah.
Hey, gents. I'm gonna be rehashing my circular saw today.
Datterbait. I don't know. Was it Datterbait? I feel like there's a better name because Datterbait just sounds like a bunch of dads masturbating, which is not really what it is.
Bait, maybe, or
no, it was like what was it? It was maybe it was Datterbait, and we just like didn't bother going any further.
Datterbait
anyway,
because it's bad.
It's good because it's bad. Yeah. So for everybody who hasn't listened to this episode, a couple episodes ago we talked about a cam site with just dads doing dad stuff. Nothing sexual, just like teaching kids how to fucking change the oil on their truck,
Exactly.
Today, that's all it is. Which is such a hilarious concept. Anyway, so the Belle Delphine bathwater thing. So I'm actually going to use this as an opportunity to try to explain this to an alien, right? This is maybe an exercise, which I actually think this is maybe a good way to spend the rest of the sub or the rest of the pod, because this is kind of the spirit of the pod, spirit of this subreddit, that it kind of comes to life, but like doesn't really. But you take these basic things and you explain them to aliens, or explain them to your alien supervisor in a way that they can understand with no understanding of what is happening in the world, right? So Belle Delphine is the name. So of a girl, man, this is hard because this one's fucking complicated. This is the hardest version of it because this is like, all right, so the internet, the internet is a way for every human being on the planet to connect with each other and have conversations with each other and form relationships with each other, even though they are not in the same place. And to do that, there are wires that run on the bottom of the ocean that transfer electricity, right? And that the electricity is how we communicate by way of this thing called the internet that you can access through your phones and your your computer and transponders, etc.
That's right.
I love this too because this is like if this were like us actually presenting this to our alien boss, you're like that guy in that room for day who like clearly didn't do the work, and you're just like trying to add a little bit. You go transponders, be like, yes, yeah, transponders, transponders are part of this.
I'm just trying to help your butchering of this explanation because it's
trying to help the presentation.
Yeah,
like, transponders.
It's just like, come on.
So that's the internet. So on the internet.
A series of connected cables.
So on the internet, where we communicate, there are in the same way that in real life, people develop romantic fantasies about other people. You also do that on the internet, where you don't actually know that person. You just know them through their pictures and the videos they make that talk about themselves. One of the most popular people is a girl named Belle Delphine. She it looks a little bit like a cartoon being an animated or drawn version of what people are like.
I think that's too confusing. Off the rails.
I mean, this is the boss level of explaining something to an alien.
You got to just
like,
say,
how do you explain
considered sexually attractive?
How do you explain vaping Belle Delphine's bathwater to an alien?
Vaping is gonna be so complicated.
Oh God!
I would start it like this. I'm like, you've heard of a huckster, right?
You've heard of. They're gonna be like, absolutely not. I do not know what a huckster is.
You've heard of purchasing goods. Yes. Well, part of purchasing goods is creating value behind that good. Okay, what is value? Well, it's making something more important than other things that would create a need to want it. Yes. There is water. It's special water.
So there's water.
Water is the most abundant resource on planet Earth, and people need it to survive. I'm with you. Now there's a special pool of very special water. Why is it special? Because there's the most beautiful woman on planet Earth has peed in it.
So wait, you're doing the mythology though. You're doing mythology now, not doing like literal. Which I guess maybe is another way to do it though.
I think if you're and maybe this is why storytelling is the most popular form of communication with humans ever. But communicating an idea through story is probably the way you would do it to an alien.
It's probably true.
Versus some kind of a textbook breakdown of the statistics.
So you and I have very different approaches here because I think that what you're doing is essentially creating.
You were tittillated.
Well, you're also making Belle Delphine.
And she may have farted in there too, which only jacks up the price.
But the way that you're talking about Belle Delphine is the aliens are going to be like, oh, that's the most beautiful woman on planet Earth.
Well, it is
like you're making her that you're making her. What that's how it works, though. I mean, that is like another way to do it.
Some consider the most beautiful talent on the planet. And of course, there's like a few guys that do. I mean, who are you going to say is the most beautiful? It's impossible conversation.
All right, now get.
They're either going to end up with Pamela Anderson statues or Belle Delphine statues. One of the two. Their whole planet.
I love the idea of there being aliens come down and they start building Belle Delphine statues as like a token. Like that is so funny. As they come down, they're just like, we want to prove that we are a peaceful race. So we've built this Belle Delphine statue for you. We come in peace.
Like the Statue of Liberty as like a peace symbol, but it's Belle Delphine farting in a bathtub.
Belle Delphine farting in a bathtub. Oh, and then it's just like little fountains of her water, and they're just like, it's the water of Earth's most beautiful creature for you to drink. And people just be like, what the fuck, dude? You guys built a Belle Delphine fountain as the way that you're telling us that you're a peaceful race?
99% of people
All right.
would say, who is that? And we'd say, she's the most beautiful person on your planet, right? Yes.
All right, now explain. So, Dog, I want you to take over from here. I think at this point we have established that Belle Delphine is the Aphrodite of Earth.
Yes.
And we have created something about her bathwater is of value because she was in it. Now explain why there's a YouTube video of a man vaping her bathwater.
Oh my god.
Also
So
the benefits.
so humans like to watch recordings of embarrassing or funny things that make them feel better about themselves. So this particular video shows an unfortunate human whose love for this Belle Delphine is unrequited, but he feels the need to make outrageous gestures of love. So he bought a vat of her bathwater and placed it in a device that humans use to vaporize liquid that causes them to have an altered state of reality. So he put Belle Delphine's bathwater into this device as if to
replicate
her farts, her liquid farts, as though they would become one.
Man, so wow, we've really this is. I mean, Belle Delphine is the most important person on the planet right now because now as an alien,
we were all very gifted.
Well, trying to explain anything to an alien is it what comes with that is essentially Earth's history in a way, all of culture. It's all these arbitrary ideas, so it's extremely difficult to try to pack into one easy sentence to understand.
Oh, of course,
Kind of the
but that's what's so lovely about this. I mean, that's what I love about this sub.
That's the point of the sub. Is trying to look at it from an outsider's point of view in a simple way that nobody else gets, right? So this one involves you couldn't explain this to your mom, let alone an alien. No. I barely get it, I get the fart water thing, that I get, okay? But vaping, it doesn't seem good for your lungs. That's where
I mean, that's why I look at this and I go, the first thing you look at this image and you go, all right, how do I start? So cigarettes. Okay.
No, I guess we'll go back.
Yeah, it's and they'd be like, "What's that thing in the background?" I'd be like, "Oh God."
I would actually
have to explain patriotism now. Jesus Christ,
How do I explain this special type of person?
Yeah, I know. It's I mean, how do you explain anomaly though? I mean, that's what's so. This is the fucking masterclass on how to talk to an alien. Is this image Jesus Christ? It's like the
hours
you
would need
hours.
You teach that alien about neck beards.
Oh God, where do you even start? So let's start on one. Let's not start on one. Let's do a different one that maybe is a little bit easier to wrap our heads around. That maybe we can kind of go through some of the comments. Now, again, I think the thing that's frustrating about this sub is I'm not coming down hard on this sub. I think the sub is cool. It proposes an interesting question, but realistically, what we're doing is kind of what I would love this sub to be. Because you guys remember the monkey's paw, where the monkey's paw, it kind of did this, where it was a perpetual fan developed story that broke down a user's post. So I would love for that kind of thing where you see a photo or you see a question, you go so some of these one that I just saw was, all right, so photo souvenirs. We'll go through this one. This was posted 14 days ago. I'm curious about what fellow human watchers think about the modern practice of photographing one's kin group before famous landmarks and works of art. For example, I recently witnessed a human mother photographing her progeny standing in front of a marker signifying entry into a designated wildlife area, and several other kin groups waiting for their own turn. Would it not make more sense to find a unique flora or fauna specimen to document? Why would one wish to own a photograph so similar to those of other kin groups? Okay, interesting. No comments. And that's what's frustrating because you look at this and you go, great question. All right, so let's break this shit down.
Yeah, I think we got to talk about clout.
So Okay, so where would you start? Would you start with clout or would you start with photos?
Oh,
So it sounds like they know photos. They get photos at this point. They're saying like we get photos, but why would you not take a photo of like a nice flower?
The sentiment that I want to explain is that it's not for the sake of looking at your kinfolk. It's for the sake of saying I got a photo in front of this famous thing.
Yes, that's where I was thinking too. Because my first question is why do you need proof that you were somewhere?
Right.
Why can't you just tell someone you went there? Like if Dog was like, hey, I went to Yosemite, and you're like, prove it, you loser. You know,
prove it, bitch.
You're like, no, I went. It was really nice. You're like, I don't believe you. I'm sure it was ugly. You're like, no, I have proof in my stories. You're like, you liar. And it's like, no, I have photographic evidence that I was somewhere. Oh, okay. Now you can come to my house. Yeah. Like, what does the proof do? Like,
so interesting.
It goes back to our vanity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knowing someday you'll look back and be like, look how hot I was when I was younger.
I do think a lot of
that's where my head was kind of going to go, but not the hot thing as much. But I was going to say, so the philosophical idea of this for the alien, right? Is you go, all right, so people die, and the older you get, the people you love and care about, sometimes your relationship changes. Mm-hmm. And so when you go to these places, especially with your children, especially with your family, it's not necessarily enough to be able to tell the story to yourself. Sometimes you want to be able to look at the thing that proves that you were there to remind yourself of how special of a time it was in your life, because either that person's no longer around, you've gotten older, maybe you even want to reflect on them as they were younger, right? Where like your child is now an adult with children of their own. And, you know, it's a spiritual thing to be able to share that moment in your life, even in the same way that you talk about a flower.
Into a screen and just rewatch it from your computer screen. You know, it's like, I feel like aliens would be able to, you know, everything is a recording of what happened. They could project it. That's one skill aliens have.
Well, but also, but the way they pose this question though is they're saying, wouldn't it make more sense? So here are a couple of the interesting points in this. Is like, wouldn't it make more sense to take photos of special flowers and like special things that you see along the way? And so my thing would be like, yeah, I mean, you could do that. That's a thing. But like, in a way, taking a photo of yourself as a young person with your children is like taking a photo of a special flower, because it's a very specific moment in time that feels special.
Wow.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, also, 90% of, I don't know, maybe I'll say 87% of people who go to national parks are like never leave the parking lot and they're eating McDonald's the whole time. And so it's like, I don't think they're getting the full experience from the parking lot, but
true.
That's part of my alien experience. Ragging on humans. You know me, I'm an outdoorsman.
Yeah, you are.
I like to live off the land.
Hell yeah.
What are moondrop grapes? What the fuck are they talking about? Moondrop grapes. I have tried these moondrop grapes and they are quite good. But they seem like a fruit I'd find on my home world. So why do humans change their naturally grown food? What is the purpose of this? What is a moondrop grape?
Right. I'm sharing my screen, guys. Look at these things.
Oh God.
That's a real thing.
Oh, is that real? Is those real things?
It looks like an olive or a grape, or is that a grape that's just a funky size?
They're moondrop grapes.
But is it a grape
what kind of niche ass shit is this that this is posted on this site? Oh, look, our first ad. Love it. A huge takeover for buy the new Ford Bronco. There we go. Ad over.
You know what? This looks like a genetically modified grape, but also the next antioxidant craze. Hopefully, let's get in front of this thing.
But why? So the origin of moondrop grapes occurs from a test we performed on humans to see their reaction to home-world edible material. A shipment of moondrop grapes accidentally fell to Earth and were introduced to human society. Stupid. I hate it. I mean, this is essentially.
I don't know why making up lore. Yeah.
Stop making up lore, dude. Keep this to the original intention, dog.
Yeah. Don't need it.
And the lore is just not that. It's bad storytelling on top of shitty lore. Get out of here.
Get out.
So the top of all time, I think, hits a little bit more at the original intention of what we were talking about. Obviously, the Belle Delphine, which I think is clearly the most exciting one here. But all right, funny how humans seek physical fitness mates. Let me pull this back on. Funny how humans seek physical fitness mates, though it is no longer necessary for survival. Perhaps their reproductive mechanisms are stuck in an earlier era. So physical fitness inmates. So this is saying why this is also the most like mouth breather fucking incel shit I've ever heard in my life. Where they're just like, as an alien, I wonder, why do you like people that are attractive?
Right.
Like, what? Yeah.
Like, even matter.
There's no actual purpose in needing muscles or being able to run anymore because we're not hunters. It's like, well, okay. But being healthy is a thing. Yeah.
So here's some of the breakdown
you
of this.
You can almost hear the breathing going on behind this.
Yes, totally. So since humans have developed agriculture, industrialization, and developed the technology to isolate glucose from plants, physical fitness has become more difficult to achieve. Thus, those mates who are fit show the proclivity for a certain amount of dedication. Interestingly enough, there was a time in their history when human mates didn't select for more physically fit females because not having to labor for living was a sign of status. Oh, that's interesting.
I like this person's trying to get back to the fat times. Like,
what was so wrong with that?
Back in the good old days, the fat people were considered royal because they had enough money to never work.
They could sit on their ass as long as they wanted.
Interesting. Fascinating. So if the human reproductive system is driven by dedication, why isn't the world's greatest Jenga player, Jenga is a game or a way of humans to like to spend time, sexually sought after in the same way that the world's greatest athlete? Assuming the athlete and the Jenga player apply equal levels of dedication to their craft, are they treated by humans as having equal reproductive merit? Man, this person's really making the case for like nerd attractiveness. Yes.
I'm
is why if you want
really sick at Jenga and nobody wants to F me. What up with that? It's like
yes, which is why if you want to get a human girl, you should show your dedication to her by finding her place of residence and phone number. If she doesn't text you back, don't worry, it's a test. Just keep texting her. I love that. I love that.
Like bad alien
trolls. Yeah, bad alien advice is a really funny subreddit idea, actually, where it's just like, it's literally things like that where you're just like, so if humans like dedicated people, we should go to their house and wait for them to come outside. That'll get them. That's really funny.
Wait in the bushes and surprise them at night. They love that. You know what I was thinking about with this picture of if I was an alien, like you do notice groups of humans that basically look the same, hanging out together a lot. Like, people just walking in twos and threes are kind of the same sort of person. Totally. Fat people hang with fats. Muscle people hang with muscles. Tattoos hang with tattoos. Like,
do fat people hang out with fats? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I'm just saying what's out there. I think
that's true.
It's 100% true. Everything we say here is 100% true. Everyone knows
that's true. You're right. We are a fact-based podcast.
That's true.
Well, look around. Just go take a walk at the mall. I mean, you're going to see a lot of groupings. But why? It's not
how you talk to your kid. Do you see a bunch of fat people and we go, "Hey, those are what we call the fats." Yeah. They all hang out together. Yeah. We don't hang out with them though. We're not one of those. We're not a fats.
Stay away. And when you and then and yell things at them from a bush. They love that.
We stay with our kind. Italian American.
Are you not allowed to say fat anymore?
No, you're allowed to say fat. It's just a funny idea that like, I know what you're saying. Like, athletes is one thing, because I feel like athletes train together. So if you're like an athlete and you're like you become friends with somebody because you train together. But like, people that are overweight, I don't know if they don't like go, "Hey, do you want to like be overweight together this weekend?"
Not work out
it's not that
Yeah.
overt. It's more of a comfort thing. I think it's like
That's possible.
I don't think it's a setup. I think it's you're about the same as me, like health wise. You look about the same. You don't see like a 10 like runway model type person hanging out with somebody who's very ugly. You just don't. I don't know why. I'm just saying what it is.
Right.
Like,
well, I think
you're afraid to talk about it because you feel like you're going to be offensive or something. But I'm just saying what I notice in like groupings of people, and you see it's the same with tattoos. I mean, maybe people are like into tattoo culture, so they're like talking about it or something. I get that, but I think there's a comfort in safety with like, oh, you look like me. We probably, are not going to want to attack each other or make fun of each other. I think it's that.
I mean, that's part of it. I mean, I think that there's also an element of just the social grouping systems that we use to create social, to create our social cliques typically happens through our recreation, right? So you go, if it was all done by job, you're not going to see like a lot of, you're going to see a very diverse amount of people because you're going to be like, oh, our task in life is all to code. So all the coders hang out and they're like, a whole variety of things. But if you're like, all of my friends are goth kids, then you're all going to look pretty similar,
But it's also the opposite. It's if you're into goth and you see another goth kid that's not your friend, you're probably going to be attracted to that person more versus the guy who's got his tank top on, he's doing curls, right? Totally. So it's like you're attracted to people who look like you. I think that's a safety thing. That's just, I don't know. It's a human safety thing. I don't know if it's not right or wrong. It's just how people are.
No, I think that's fair. And I think that introduces an interesting point here which is like, I think the feeling of safety is probably, in terms of the alien explanation, is like a very important part of the way that we function as a society. And I actually don't know. I mean, maybe
of a tribe, right? The tribal like DNA in us is pretty old fashioned.
The tribal DNA, and I also wonder, if this were a real situation, an alien comes down and they go like, "Hey, explain to us how all this shit works," right? Like there are certain assumptions you make about what that alien can understand innately, but like even the idea of grouping out of safety, like is that, the whole idea of that is survival individually and as a community, but is that even the same logic as an alien where like they go, I mean, there are certain people, there's certain tribes, and there's certain kind of like, you think about like suicide bombers, right? Where you go, their native behavior has nothing to do with survival, right? They're not trying to survive, right? So it's not really beyond the realm of reason that an alien would come down and be like, why are you guys trying to survive so much? Right.
Well, it is,
and then you have to explain
survival in the sense that they do what other people are doing around them to survive, because that's the culture. Yeah. I mean,
well, I know people do that. I'm saying like to explain what survival means or explain why you would even want to survive.
Oh yeah, because
might not be native.
Right. What? Yeah. Like the drive to survive. You mean?
Because we assume that's like a tenet of what it is to be alive, and like if an alien comes down, we're assuming that they have the same founding tenets of what drives us to be people or drives us to be alive, which would be like the whole point of this is to just stay alive. That's it. That's all you're trying to do. The aliens might be like, that's not how our planet works. Like people fucking die whenever they want. We don't care.
That is, yeah. Humans don't seem to ever want to die. I mean, on the most part. Like we got a slight homeless thing going on in LA. I look at some of these people that are like literally crawling on the ground, like unclothed, and you're like, that person's still fighting to survive. You're like, that's
crazy.
That's just it's kind of crazy. You're like, wow, like that's built into us. That's deep.
Totally. But if it's not built into you, if you were to come to Earth and you'd be like, what are the things that are built into people? I think the most basic one easily is every person on Earth is just trying to not die.
Yes,
that's the only thing.
And you have increased odds of survival when you're in a group of people versus being alone. And that's another human thing, the tribal element. And so back to the fats being with the fats and the tats being with the tats. I think people, gravitate towards people that look like them because there's a survival mechanism probably at play.
Right. Well, at the very least, I mean, if it's not physical survival, it's emotional and in kind of
now it's
intellectual
emotional
survival,
and intellectual. Right? Yeah, it's not physical anymore. Like there's nobody's attacking people really, not much these days.
Yeah, I mean, but even if you were attacked, having somebody who could be like, "Hey, it's all right, man. You're gonna be all right. I'm here for you." Right? Is like part of the survival process.
At the beach in Barcelona, she was just like, "Later, bitches."
Bye, bitches.
Exactly.
It's been real.
Everyone for themselves. Capitalism forever.
I tripped her and I was like, "Take her."
Yeah.
Take her instead.
Take her. Ayn Rand rules.
She's got more money than me. Run.
Yeah.
I'm so unathletic. I didn't get far running for my life, and I had to stop at a palm tree and throw up on it.
Come on.
Amazing.
That is a detail in the story that you just.
No, that's a real detail.
That is the best.
You just walk away from that detail like it's not the most important fact in this whole story.
I like that you guys just crushed a 25-foot paella dish 10 minutes before, and you're like, that was good.
Yeah. The most important part of that story is after I threw up, I was like, policia, like, ayúdame, etc. And this straight out of the early 90s, like undercover detective woman comes out from like an alleyway in an acid wash jean jacket, acid wash jean like pants, big metal belt, and she's like, "What happened?" And like it was she had like bleach blonde perm, like it was like from another time, and I was just like, "Are you a police officer?" She's like, she was a police officer. She's like, "Give a description. What color was their hair?" I don't know. What color were their eyes? I don't fucking know. I ran away.
Right. I didn't see him. I'm not actually sure if we got robbed or not. I just thought I had a hunch. So
I had a hunch, lady. You're gonna.
I like that you came out looking like Madonna from 1988. Like
it was like the most magical moment. I'm like, this bitch is gonna get us justice. She didn't get us justice, but she was like an Olivia Benson.
Justice.
No justice, no peace.
Mm-mm.
No.
She might have been an alien that
Spanish
you would
police.
have had to explain your story to.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would have been tough.
Yeah.
That would have been challenging. All right, let's hit one more of the. Let's see if there's anything else on Human Watch that we want to cover. I mean, I think that we kind of have talked in depth about what this sub. I think what's nice about this is like intellectually, this sub is very interesting. It's a fun drinking game for fucking nerds. But I will say it doesn't necessarily. It feels a little bit like everybody has a different intention with the subreddit, right? Where like there's some people who are just like, I just want to pretend I'm an alien and make alien fun jokes and shit. And I'm like, that's not interesting. I want this to be a person breaking things down to its most simple, basic explanation to try to philosophically understand how humans work.
Right.
Some people are like that. Some people aren't.
Yeah, like
and I also feel like maybe this is a little young because I feel like, what's the point of homework? Like,
I think the key in designing a good post here is you need an insight into things that humans do that are like an outsider's perspective. That's A, and then B is writing it in a way that an alien would speak or question things. And you just see a lot of people not kind of getting either one of those right. Like one here just says, "Why do humans watch so much TV?" You're like, well, that's just a question. That doesn't really nail it. But you could have phrased it in a way that was better designed for this sub in an entertaining way.
Right.
So here's the one I think I was alluding to earlier this is actually posted 17 days ago. So this is probably a byproduct of the trending subreddits thing that you saw, Doug. So why do humans feel the need to migrate to areas where where many have perished? So do they not value their lives? Some even vacate to areas too hot or too cold for their bodies to manage. Even worse, they occasionally force their offspring to partake in their strange activity with them. Should this be stopped? So I think what this is saying is like, Why do they feel the need to migrate to areas where many have perished? So is this saying like, why did people move to the mountains? Or like
aliens wouldn't know about people perishing. It's
well, they would. I think they would know like why would you move to fucking St. Petersburg where all those people died, right? Like I don't know. Maybe that's what they're asking. I don't really know.
Yeah.
It's a vague question. I think they mean places like, I was hearing it like the desert where there's not an abundance of resources, or even a city. You can make an argument like, why are all these people squished on top of each other when there's so much space over there? You know,
totally.
Well,
maybe that's what it is. So the top comment. The top comment, which really doesn't say much because each of the comments kind of have like 1 or 2 points. But as I'm fairly new to human watching, take my answer with a grain of lactson, which is salt in alien speak, I guess. I believe such borderline self-harmful behavior has chronologically contributed to mutations that allow them to evolve into a more superior species than most others in Sol 4. A behavior without their inferior intelligence would have long caused their extinction. These proven benefits of mildly self-harmful behavior encourage them to continue on their path. So it's essentially saying, like, why do people choose to live harder than they have to? Well, because it makes them better for it, right? So, however, if perhaps they remain in areas where they can effortlessly sustain themselves, they would be able to advance as society, since they would ultimately form an unbreakable alliance, resulting in development in problem solving and other complications Sol 4 currently faces. Sol 4 is Earth, I guess. So this is actually kind of the two conflicting views that you're saying, Dog or Freed, is there's, you can live easy with your tribe, which is going to make protectionism easier, or you can live hard alone, which is going to make surviving alone easier, right?
Yeah, and that brings up the question of sort of what's the point of being alive.
Right.
I think this alien is suggesting that humans are alive to create a perfect society, but that's not why. I think we're too individualistic. We want to make ourselves feel good versus have the group succeed. That seems like, a core tenet of being a human, from my point of view.
I guess.
Well, I think it sounds good, right? But people typically act in their own regard. And so the guy who's living out in the woods by himself is doing it because he wants to, not because it's, you know what I mean? Like, people are doing what they want to do. And being an individual is a big part of being a human.
Right.
Which I don't know if the aliens think that way or not. Like they might be a group hive mind. We are not hive mind.
So this is the other comment that I think seems to resonate a little bit with. So humans seem to do so as a test of physical might and intellectual prowess. For example, when questioned by incognito agents as to why they would travel to the top of the Earth's highest mountain despite the terrible conditions and numerous recorded deaths, human explorer George Mallory simply said, because it's there. So I think that's actually a real quote, maybe. It also makes sense as an extreme version of survival mechanism. After all, if other humans have laid claim to more temperate areas, one can avoid interspecies conflict, disease, and overcrowding by spreading to areas with fewer humans. As more humans did, the only areas left without humans in them already were the most inhospitable. So that's a little bit of what you're saying, Freed, is like, you can get away from cities. And when you're in a city, there's always a chance that someone is going to be like, somebody's going to like mug you for your paella, right?
There's already an alpha structure there in a city and a bunch of them. So, but if you go somewhere there's no people, you're immediately the alpha in charge of the tribe, which sounds appealing, but curveball, there's no water. So you got to figure out another problem. Either way, there's a problem.
Install a Brita.
Yeah. It's which makes sense. Like, stay around here, be a slave in that guy's alpha tribe, or go start your own scene out in the woods and eat rabbits.
Yes. So the poster said, I see. So you're saying it's an evolutionary tactic, and then the person of that recent comment said, yes, most of human behavior can be explained by their animalistic nature clashing with their artificial environment, which is pretty profound, actually, right? Which is like most things that are problems in our lives are our natural instincts and our natural environment and our natural kind of built-in human or animalistic intention clashing with the things we've invented along the way that maybe contradict that natural instinct.
Yeah, it's like why aren't things perfect, and why there's enough resources for everyone? Why don't we all have an equal amount? Well, that's not how we are. We want it for ourselves. Like we want people want to be on top. That competition seems built in.
It's fascinating stuff. And then the last comment on this one just says vacuum abhorrence, which I don't know why. So cool.
What's
vacuum abhorrence.
Yeah.
I don't know why it says that. But anyway, all right. So probably close this one out now. We're approaching the 9 a.m. hour. I know we all have things to do.
Human.
But
we're weird. Yeah.
That's the theme. That is kind of the theme. I think that the theme of this episode is support your troops. Haunted houses need some reinvention, and
or
humans are complicated.
Yeah.
So, in that order.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's. I do really like this sub. I think it's really interesting. I think that I wish it was a little bit more of where our heads go. So we might we give this one a B-.
And maybe there's a moderator out there who will listen to this one day and be like, you know what? I think there's real opportunity for this stinker.
Yeah. I mean, especially because the thing with me is like looking at the sidebar and seeing those two like very philosophical links to magazines. I'm kind of like, clearly the intention of this subreddit is philosophical banter, but it seems like it's been a little bit diluted by people trying to just role play aliens and not like role play aliens because you're trying to get a philosophical and human explanation.
Right. Yeah, the alien is a mechanism. It's a tool to role play, to provide insights into human behavior. It's kind of what it should be, but you're not quite getting enough of that.
Totally.
It's I don't know.
Crazy stuff. Anyway, all right, let's hit a couple randoms to close this fella out. God, I fucking hope my sound is okay on this one. I literally have no idea what my microphone sounds like. But
sounds good to me, my man.
All right. That's all that matters. Sounds good to you guys.
You did sound a little staticky last pod on
the last pod's fucking that mic. The Blue Yeti sucks. All right, I got the San Antonio Spurs. Woo, 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 woo. Very exciting. I don't know what's happening with them right now. I mean, I do follow basketball pretty closely. They did not make the playoffs last year, which is the first time in a long time. They have probably the most respected coach in the world, but they are in a little bit of a dark era. So I hope they come back.
Shit.
I know. What do you got over there, dog?
I've got Toilet Paper USA.
Wow.
This is apparently the fake Turning Point USA subreddit.
Totally. Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA.
Yeah, for like conservative college students. So this one is basically people making fun of like Ben Shapiro tweets and like, yeah, it's really funny. Toilet Paper USA.
I actually love, so you see TP USA on the front page fairly often, and most of them are Charlie Kirk images of him trying to mock liberals, but the way that they've altered his face a little bit, because he's got this little face where it's like his eyes and his nose and his mouth are kind of like crunched together, and so there's like a little bit of like a lot of negative space on his head.
Who is that? I don't know who that is.
That guy right there.
Oh, what? And he's just a meme.
He's just like a political commentator, but
people make his face smaller and smaller.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta find a really, really good one because there's a lot of was it Toilet Paper USA, right?
Yep.
Maybe look down and see if there's
What
like
is
a good
Detroit
meme
over
about it.
USA?
Yeah, here's the examples I constantly am seeing. It's like stuff like this.
Yeah.
So like I love the crunch. It's so funny. Just perfect.
Man.
Very, very nice.
That if that was our facial proportions, I don't know. I don't hate it. You know, I kind of.
All right, sure. I mean,
so it's a lot of real estate for bumper stickers or something. You could do a lot.
Yeah, you can really put a lot of ads. You could really sell ad space on your face if you had a little bit more negative space.
Well, those face tattoos are really popular right now too. So I feel like that would be good for the rappers and stuff.
I feel like it'd be good for the rappers.
For you to get hit in the head too, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it really just, I would say evolutionarily speaking, I'm curious as to what would have had to have happened in the past that would have made this a little bit more of the way we developed. Because your chin, I bet it would be like your chin would be ultra strong because it'd be like a defense mechanism essentially.
Yeah.
And then your face would be really fragile, which is why it shrunk to a size that like that. It would change the way we eat food. It changed so many things. Fascinating.
I think if you wore a hoodie with the strings pulled too tight for too long, that would be an evolutionary step that your body would just take over time.
That's probably true. All right. Well, what else you got? You got anything else, Freed? You got a random you want to share?
Glitch here. I don't know. Glitch in the Matrix. I'm just trying to figure what this is about here. It looks like some computing glitch things. Maybe the Matrix.
Glitch in the Matrix. I mean, Glitch in the Matrix is a classic.
This just. Oh yeah, Glitch in the Matrix. So I don't know what it's about though. I'm sort of discovering it right now. What is it about? You already know.
Well,
why don't you share your sub? Why don't you share your page? Didn't we cover Glitch in the Matrix? I feel like we covered that.
We did?
With the Mandela effect and the Berenstain Bears.
Oh. Are you seeing my screen? No.
I am seeing your screen. There you go.
Oh. There we go, baby.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no, it might be worth revisiting because I'm sure there's some new stuff going on here that could be.
I would love to revisit this one because my theory is that ever since Joe Biden won, we have merged back in to the Berenstain Bears universe.
The Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, unfortunately, it still says Berenstain Bears everywhere, but feels like things are starting to go better, doesn't it?
Well, we're gonna have to fix that eventually. Yeah, I think that things are hopefully starting to get back to normal.
A little bit.
I want things to be back to boring. I think Free just left inexplicably. I think he probably logged out, but that's fine. This is I think it's the end of the sub anyway, or the end of the pod. So thank you for listening. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, following us on Twitch, all that kind of stuff. Mr. Space Garbage is back. My name is It's Your Dad.
I'm Dog Boobs.
My Free Day. Signing off.
Did you Reddit? Weekly podcast about the internet by way of Reddit, the front pages of the internet. Did I do that at the beginning? I don't know if I even introduced this at the beginning. Whatever, who cares? We'll be back next week. Have a good week, y'all.
Bye.